So a pretty big update has just dropped for The Sims 4, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite updates that's dropped in a while. Hey humans, how's it going? It's Shani today here, and welcome to the Neighborhood Stories video. For those of you who don't know, Neighborhood Stories were included into The Sims 4 in an update for free that brings actual true story progression to the game. Now, I know they added story progression a while ago where you as the Sim can interact with other Sims, get them to change their careers, talk about expanding families, all of that. But that was very user driven and nothing was happening autonomously for your unplayed households. Well, that's all changed with Neighborhood Stories, and honestly, I let my game run for an hour earlier, so a full Sim week had elapsed, and there were so many things that happened naturally. Sims moved out, Sims moved in, Sims got pregnant, Sims made adoptions, both cats, dogs, and babies slash children slash toddlers, which is amazing. Obviously cats and dogs if you've got cats and dogs installed. If you don't, obviously can't be adopting cats and dogs. There were also 2 deaths that happened, funnily enough. One of them was a cow plant death, and if you've ever come into any one of my Twitch streams, you would know that I am very attached to my cow plants. But apart from that, this is actually a really cool update. But for us console players, probably one of the best things to happen in a very long time, because there's actual genuine story progression, and your unplayed Sims households' traits will affect what ends up happening. So someone that is family orientated is more likely to have more children autonomously, whereas someone who's non-committal might not so much, and people who hate children won't have children at all, obviously. So it's a very cool dynamic to finally have in the game, and honestly it should have been here since day one. But also the beauty of this is that you can set how you want things to play out. So if there's certain unplayed households that you don't want to move out because you want them to stay in that house, you can go into each of the manage household settings, whether it's played or unplayed, and you can change the settings per household. So if you don't want the Goths moving out of the Goth household, or you don't want the land grabs moving out of the land grab household, or from their house, because that's just the land grab house and no one else would want to stay there, you can make sure that they don't move out. You can make sure that some Sims are spared from death by accidents, etc, etc. It's a very cool addition to the game. I'm very happy to see it, especially for those of us on console who don't have access to mods like MCC, where you could increase your story progression and your livelihood of the Sims game outside of where you're playing currently with your family. Also, by default, any of the Sims that are currently listed in your households will not have any of the story progression. You'll have to go in there separately and change things the way that you want. The only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't show all of the updates at once, and then you have to continually check for neighborhood stories, and then eventually you'll say, oh, there's nothing new that's happened, check again tomorrow. I would have liked that all of the updates get shown in one little list and then carry on with my daily life. And also you actively have to check your mailbox each day, so that's a little bit of a bummer. And I did see a bunch of simmers saying this would have been a really great opportunity to either integrate this with check social media or integrate this with bringing back the newspaper. It is what it is, but at least there's some life that's been added back into the game, especially for like me as a console player. I've been manually progressing my neighborhood and my worlds and having bloodlines continue since 2017 when the game came to console. So this is a massive win for us, at least. But then again, it's a massive win for all simmers ever. Now all they need to do is fix my wedding stories and then we can have another chat. Honestly, I would put this update up there with pools and toddlers and platforms and glass roofs. Like, this is probably up there with one of the big updates, and honestly, no one was expecting to see it. And then when it dropped yesterday, all of us were like, oh my god, it's story progression in The Sims, what? And there's so much customizability, and you can change the way that you play, and it's amazing. So you can keep certain townies alive, and you can keep them around, and you can make sure that they don't move out of their house. Shout out to Vlad, who suddenly doesn't want to live in Forgotten Hollow anymore. But anyway, that's going to be the video. What are you most excited for with regards to neighborhood stories and story progression? As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here. Remember that we're all human differently, and I'll see you guys again soon. Dag dag!